Hey guys, my name's Jamal Davenport, and I'm commenting on the redshirting issue that we have. To redshirt or not to redshirt, my position in this is I absolutely disagree. I do not support the idea of a teacher and a parent having the authority to hold a child back or to defer their academic process or their academic abilities for the sake of some social concern. I don't think that's fair to the child, and I don't think that it's productive for their academic career. When you're thinking about children in general, especially when it comes to their earlier years, the more social interactions they have, the more opportunities they have for academic exposure, is the better they tend to do. And statistically, that's supported. That's even supported from many of us who may have children now, whom we started earlier in school, or we put them in particular programs that were academically based. Certain daycares were more enthused about teaching children in an earlier time and kind of preparing them for the school setting. And just to see, as our blog is supposed to talk about for this week, the perception, the deciding factor for teachers. Some of the things that they actually look for are kind of interesting because it's not solely academic performance, and of course these are young kids. They're not that old, and the one thing they use most heavily is, it seems like, the social things, the fact that they're not able to pay attention, or they're not able to stay still, or in some way or another they can't comprehend the work. I think that the level of expectation that they have for these kids may be a bit more unreasonable. It might be a little lofty to expect kids to be well mannered and well behaved at the age of 4 and 5. I think that we may need to have a better support system, a better system in place to determine what kids are ready and how they should be prepared. I mean, just looking at it from a general perspective, kids are kids. They're young. They don't really have a whole lot of social boundaries. Their interacting skills are still developing. They don't have the capacity to tell, what's the better decision in an academic setting from what's a worse decision. Should they play with the crayons now or later? All these different things that teachers may use as some sort of guide to say that kids are ready may not actually be fair at all. I think, as they mentioned in one of the articles, the NAEYC, one of the things that I thought was interesting about them is they recommended pre-screening, setting up some sort of an opportunity for teachers to evaluate kids and students before they actually enter into the classroom setting, so that they can recommend specific things for parents to do. And I think that may be more effective in the long run than just evaluating kids based on what they think they're capable of socially handling. I can speak for myself with this because I was actually redshirted, and what a coincidence, I am wearing a red shirt today. I was actually redshirted as a kid, and that is a pretty eerie yet weird experience because I can remember the conversation that my mom had with the teacher that made the evaluation and that made the recommendation for me staying back an additional year. In kindergarten, I believe I was at the age of 5, which is still the required age in the state of Florida. I can remember her saying, "Your son is not emotionally mature enough to transition to the first grade." And that, to me, I can recall sitting in the chair. It was after school hours, and I'm watching my mom have a conversation with my teacher. How do I remember this? Why do I remember this? Maybe this is one of those pivotal moments in my academic experience. I can recall the next year going back to school and seeing my friends, which is crazy because I shouldn't remember this stuff, but I do. I can recall going back to school and seeing my friends in another grade, and I was not with them. I can remember lining up in the cafeteria and watching them from a distance. And of course, emotionally, it definitely affects you. Um, how much of an impact did it make on my academics? I can't say much because more of my academic experiences came with maturity. It was more so not a social thing where I wasn't able to stay still or to stay awake during the lesson times or stay focused, but it was more so um, the will to, and I think that may have played a great part in my will, the desire to learn at an early age based on the mark of a failure starting out. Now I'm perfectly fine and I can do things, with no issues, but before it was a pretty tough experience. And, to always kind of have that thought in the back of your mind that you would have been in a completely different place by now had you not been held back or had they not evaluated you in the way they did. And like I said again, I absolutely disagree. And it's not just from the resources that we've been given to read, but also from personal experience. Guys, I hope you learned something from this. I hope that we are unanimously supporting no redshirting. And once again, thank you guys. I'm Jamal, and I will talk to you later.